Today's guest is Justin Stuckey. Throughout his impressive athletic career, Justin has seen God work in his heart through the highs and the lows. Justin is a 3-time All-American high jumper and competed in the Olympic trials. Now, through his career in sports media, his main goal is to point people to Jesus. I hope you're encouraged by this episode of Acts 420. Justin, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'll just kick it over to you. Share some about your story, how you came to know Jesus, and we'll go from there.
First off, man, thanks for having me on. I'm glad you reached out. Always an exciting time when you're able to talk about the Lord and our faith journeys. Everybody has a unique individual journey. And so I was definitely thought this was a no-brainer when it came across my phone. And so I'm just excited, man, just reflecting back in preparation for this, just a time of, how my journey has gone. I told you in our first call, I grew up in the church, had a great loving family who brought me up. And, you're in there on Sundays. And I grew up in the Southern Black church. So church was long, man. So we're in there all day. And so you got moments where you're in there and then you may doze off and you wake back up and you're still in there. And so it was always brought up to me, whether we're, praying for our meals, praying for just life in general, being surrounded by faith was just something I was used to. And I guess technically I'm in the Bible Belt being in Alabama. So that's just was a common thing here. But I always say everybody has to make a decision for themselves. Where I grew up, you always hear the saying, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So growing up, we're being brought to church. We're being brought to the place we need to be around faith, other Christians. But at some point, we have to make the decision for ourselves. And I think for me, that moment it was something, honestly, it was more of a no-brainer because I always believed in Christ. I always believed in Jesus and the principles of the Christian foundation, but really walking in that. I'd say high school, I started going to more, events with friends. We had these small groups and you saw a lot of times, like some people, we used to make a joke. A lot of people just come for the food that was there. And then some people would just do it for show so they could post it on Instagram. And so for me, I think I was always involved as far as my faith, but my granddad always tell me, like, you need to read the Bible, like, make sure you're reading the Bible. And that's one thing I didn't do. Like, I never would go read the Bible on my own. I just like read it on a Sunday when the pastor's reading it, but I never read it on my own. But when I got to college, I think that was really the turning point as far as my foundation when it came to Christ. Shout out to my boy, Cole Schiffer. I'm always give him his credit. Actually got a little Polaroid right here. I don't know if y'all can see it. This is Cole Shiflett. This right here, he is first ballot Hall of Fame for heaven. He's definitely going to be there. He was instrumental for me in my faith when I was at Sanford because I had a lot of stuff going on. I came there full scholarship with track and field. Didn't really want to do track and field. I was in a class with Cole. Cole invited me to this small group he had called Sanford Multiply. When people invite yourself, I'm a pretty outgoing, easygoing guy. I really didn't want to go, but I was like, okay, I'll go see what this is. And I didn't know anybody there. I barely knew Cole. He invited us. It was at the dorm. And I was just kind of in there, like, could be doing other stuff, but I decided to go. And the 4 principles for Sanford Multiply was, personal holiness, prayer, scripture reading, and evangelism. And so one of the things I really took heed of was the scripture reading part. And I was like, okay, he was challenging us. Let's make sure you're reading the Bible, daily. And so I took it, as an athlete, I'm all about a challenge. So I initially took it as like, I'm just going to see how many days I can go just to say that I was doing it. And so I get past 100 days. I remember texting Cole, like, I'm 100 days reading this Bible every day. And it got to the point where I was like, okay, am I actually reading it to learn it, or am I just reading it to say I read it? And so I stayed in the Multiply group, continued to grow in our small group. Then COVID hit, and Cole, we kept our small group going. That's probably the best thing we could do because virtual capabilities. And Cole texted me. He was like, "Hey man, I would love for you to lead the group next semester." And I was like, immediately, 1,000 excuses came to my mind of why I couldn't do it. And I was like, all right, sure I do. He was like, I'll help you out. We'll lead together and then you'll lead with your own group. And so it was just very, not even, I wouldn't say convicting, but it was a thing of like, man, am I ready to be able to lead other guys closer to Christ? I'm not a perfect person. Nobody's a perfect person. And so those were the thoughts that were going through my mind. But then I really just went for it. I feel like it was a calling and we had a great time doing it. And I think throughout my life, you have to actually go through real life experience to really see where your foundation is, see where you fall back on. Um, I've seen people say, if you ask God for patience, He's not just going to give you patience, He's going to give you situations to be patient in. And so in my life, I've had situations where, I've seen God's presence, seen the opportunities to where, I couldn't do it without Him, being able to lean on Him and ask Him for wisdom and guidance when I can't really see what's ahead and understanding He's got it all figured out. So that's just kind of like a big summary, I guess, of,
Mm,
how I came to know Christ and kind of where that foundation really stuck as far as me making a decision for me. Um, and
mm,
then the people I'm around, even if you're not around believers, being able to help share the gospel in some type of way and not like a condemning,
mm.
judgmental way, but being able to share um, the word. Cause I'm like, dang, if you don't want something to happen to them and then you could have been the person to tell them about God and then you didn't and then they never knew. And then what?
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a similar story. Just kind of grew up with a knowledge of God, a relationship with God. So it's always kind of an interesting, it seems like a boring testimony. Like, some people, they were just like way off,
Mhm.
and God like pulled them out of the pit.
Yeah.
Um, but God has pulled me out of individual pits in my life. Like sexual sin is one of them. Um, and uh, yeah, I mean, I guess like depression in middle school. Um, now, I guess, would you say there are any like really tough times that, in specific, that God, you just really felt Him present and you were leaning into Him and He was just giving you one step at a time, leading you out of that, um, to the
I'd
other side?
I'd say one time for certain, and this is, how people say, the Lord will speak to you. I
Mm,
never had that at first. I was like, "What?" I don't. Not that I didn't believe that, but it was just a thing of like I've never experienced that. I can't speak from experience on this end. But I told you how my freshman year, I didn't really want to do track in college.
mm,
I left Sanford after the first year because I wanted to play football. So I ended up going to Troy University in the summer to go play football. So I was in fall camp and everything. And I remember I was in my apartment and bro, clear as day, I promise you. Like I don't even know how to explain it to people who may not understand. Clear as day, I just heard the Lord say, "This is something you want to do. This is something you can do, but this
mm,
isn't what you like need to be doing."
mm,
Essentially. And it's crazy because after that happened, I was like, it was such a weird realization because I kind of went against not went against my parents, but they obviously wanted me to stay at Sanford. I had made all this big moves, big changes. And even when I left Sanford, my Coach Tiffin at Sanford was like, "You ever want to come back? Let me know. You can come back." And then I ended up coming back like really quickly afterwards. I called my grandparents and told them. And crazy part is that whole conversation, I don't know what happened with the phone, but it recorded like as a voicemail. So like I still have that whole conversation of being in that apartment and telling them, you know, I don't feel like this is what the Lord wants me to do. Like I was very much
mm,
capable. Like even when I went to go tell my coach at Troy that I was going back, he was like, "Why? Like you're gonna play here." And so it was an interesting time in my life. Definitely a lot of question marks. Didn't really know what
mm,
was what, but it worked out for the best. I ended up going back to Sanford, really focusing in on my friends, my faith, track and field, and I was able to have a great career. I went to the trials in 21. I was three-time
Mm.
All-American, school records, conference records. We got a lot of rings. We won a lot, so that was fun. Really got to get immersed into the university, and I think everything happened the way it was supposed to. And then I got what I wanted, not what I wanted, but what I was kind of chasing after was going to the bigger level school. So after I graduated Sanford, I was able to go to Auburn, able to compete in the SEC, able to be amongst, you know, the highest in the country, um,
Mm.
get a different experience, different feel. And even then, like, that was a tough time because that didn't go the way I wanted. It worked out great because all the media stuff that's come with it from the opportunity of being at Auburn and, the big networks coming into town. Like, I wouldn't have had a chance to meet any of those people or connect with those people if I had stayed at Sanford post
Mhm.
grad because, respect to Sanford, none of the big networks are coming there. It's not big coverage like that. But even at Auburn, like, I came in there with the mindset of I was supposed to win a national championship. That was my coach's goal. That were my goals. That's what everybody knew was going to happen. Then my first year, I
Mhm.
ended up tearing my knee. And so, first off, that's kind of rare in track and field. It's not like I was playing football. And
Mm.
so, all those plans that I had completely shifted, and God kind of showed me a new purpose to where even while I was hurt, I was still able to, do podcasts. I was still able to make social media videos. I was still able
Mhm.
to communicate. Like my voice wasn't gone. My face looked pretty good to me, so we can roll with that. Like I did some podcasts literally with like the brace on my leg, and nobody
Mm.
really, you can't see that 'cause I kept it camera up, and so those were some tough times and understanding like not nobody's there, but God's always there. He puts people in
Mhm.
your life that are supposed to be there. He removes people, who aren't supposed to be there. And I think going to Auburn was another test of faith in a lot of ways too, because at the bigger schools, a lot more things thrown your way, temptations,
Mm.
just more variety of things than it was at Sanford, because Sanford is already a private Christian school, so more
Mm.
people are of faith. At Auburn, it was less of that. Um, I still I didn't have my community like I did at Sanford when it came to having the small group, but I found ways to stay connected to Christ and even getting close friends who were, of Christian faith. They had a lot of things at Auburn you were able to tap into. Like we had a team chaplain, which is new to me. So we had a
Mm.
team chaplain, had Bible studies with the team. Um, I wasn't a fan growing up of, the big mega churches because I didn't go to a big church. I went to a smaller church. And a lot of times it got a bad rap because a lot of people would just do it for show or they really weren't
Mm.
representing what they were supposed to. But at Church of the Highlands, they had these things called one nights. And it's very ironic because I vividly remember this guy, and he was on the football team, I believe, who came up to me at Sanford and gave me a flyer for the one nights that were in Birmingham. And they were the same nights as Sanford Multiply in my small group, so that's really why I
Mm.
didn't go, but I honestly didn't even take too much time to look at it, and
Mm.
so when I went to Auburn, it hit me, I was like, "Dang, this is the same thing that kid was trying to give me a flyer to," and so I would go there on Thursdays or Tuesdays, depending on the day, after practice and everything or after, our media sports night shows that we had in Auburn, and it was good to be able to connect and have a day outside of the Sunday to really
Mm.
reset your focus, learn. It was very relatable because they were college nights. So it was all things related to, our world, the things that were going on for us. So it was good for me to have that. There was also like these big events that would come every now and then. I can't remember the name of this one event, but it was like huge. It went viral after the worship night. We like went down to the pond they had at the Red Barn at Auburn. People were getting baptized in the water. Like it was crazy. And I had to get you my phone's over there. I don't know the name of the thing. Um, but man, it was a good
Yeah.
night. It was a good time to be able to have everything good.
Yeah. No, I'm,
Okay.
I was gonna look it up. So it was at Auburn.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can't remember the name. They travel around, but they came to Auburn. I don't know if the pastor name was JP, JD, or something, but it was like it was going viral too. Like they were doing a bunch of baptisms at Auburn that night. And
okay. Yeah, it looks like was it September 2023? Fall of 2023?
man, probably, yeah, I think, yeah, that's when I was
Yeah, a
there.
spontaneous, viral, and massive Christian revival event called Unite Auburn
Yep, that's it.
saw nearly 200 to 350 students baptized in a lake at Auburn University's Red Barn.
Mhm.
That's funny. Wow, that's nuts. Hundreds
It was a
is
crazy night, bro.
that's a ton.
I was like, "Look, I'm all about baptism," but I was like, "I don't know what's in that water." That's what I was thinking at first. I was like, "Man, I don't know what's in that water." 'Cause people were just like everybody went to the event, which was at the basketball arena. And so, let's just say the basketball arena is half a mile or so from the Red Barn. Like, people were in the arena and then left the arena and all walked down or drove down, and the thing was packed, bro. It was like masses of people, and people had on regular clothes going to the event. Then all of a sudden they in the water. It was
Wow.
crazy. And I
Yeah.
was just like, this is really a move. And those are the moments like you can't really replicate. Those are the
Mm,
spontaneous moments, and you love to see those. But just
yeah.
all of those different type of opportunities to be a part of while at Auburn, even while it was not the same um, dynamic as Sanford, because even at Sanford, we had required um, convocations. So they're basically like chapels. And so you
Mhm.
had to get like a certain amount of credit. So it was already instilled at Sanford. At Auburn, you can pick and choose what you want to do. Like there was many
Sure.
people who rather go to Sky Bar and out to the clubs and anything related to church and stuff. And so that was just a different dynamic and staying involved. Also would try to go to FCAs as much as I can. That
Mm,
also wasn't as huge of a presence at Auburn like it was at Sanford, but they were
mm,
rebuilding. And so I was glad to just be able to support when I could and go amongst everything else we had going on. But just those opportunities while in college just gave me, multiple opportunities to, help share the faith, or if I had conversations with people. One of my closest friends, Dylan Cardwell, he's killing it in the NBA right now on the Kings. He's definitely one of my closest friends when I was at Auburn, and,
mm,
just a man of faith and understanding, we have highs, we have lows, but just trying to talk those things through and keep each other, sharpened. That iron
mm.
sharpens iron, and who you surround yourself with is huge in your circle and
Yeah.
all those dynamics. So I think for me, not only did I have a good foundation growing up, but the schools I went to allowed me to have a good foundation. And, I've come across people, even some of my friends, like who don't have faith. And I've had conversation with them. And I think that's really all you can do. You pray that the Lord works through them. I
Mm,
can't change their mind. I can give them as much insight or talk, have conversations. And a lot of that time has worked. And it's started to help, pull them in the right direction so you can go to the mission together, try to reach that goal together.
mm,
But I think all of those have been instrumental into just how I live my life in general. Our church just had the 21 days of prayer and fasting, and I was fasting from candy, bro. Anybody knows me, I love candy, bro. Love candy. I haven't had candy in a minute, and so just trying to lock in, really trying to read my Bible more during the day as well,
mm,
rather than at the end of the day trying to
mm.
put that first. I really just have to do it. It's really no excuses there. I just like growing up, I loved wanting to end my day. Like when everything's said and done, like I want that to be the last thing that was on my mind. But I guess I
Mhm.
just need to read more. I read the beginning of the day, read the end of the day. And so
Yeah.
um yeah, I hope that answered the question or gave more
Yeah.
insight to the people.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate that. So so why did you not so I guess I'll back up to high school. So you played football in high school, I assume?
Football, basketball, and track.
Okay. How big was your high school?
Um
Like, how many kids you graduate with?
326. I remember
Okay,
that
so
vividly.
pretty good size.
Mhm.
Um, and what position did you play for football?
I was a receiver.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, makes sense. Um, and obviously super athletic, doing high jump and long jump. Um, Now, did you get football interest coming out of high school? I assume
Yeah,
yes.
I was recruiting all 3 sports, but, like, our town, bro, like, we sucked at football last year, so nobody was coming to
Okay.
watch us like that. And then
Yeah.
basketball, we were really good, but it just was like the recruiting didn't pan out the way I wanted it to. And so track,
Mhm.
honestly, just was the thing that worked the best. Like seeing
Okay.
the and I was good at track, like, looking back on, like, I was really, really good at track, but it's just something I only did, like, originally, I got into track in general because the girls were there. I was like, all my other sports, I'm just around guys the whole time. I was like, I wanna go out there, be around the girls, and then also it was a different dynamic because majority of the people who did track and field really didn't do the other sports with me. Like, none of my
Hmm.
friends that did track were on my well, a couple of them were on football, but none of them were on basketball for
Hmm.
real until I made them come out and do track with me. But track was just a different group of people, you
Yeah.
know? And so every sport I did, it always had a different feel. Like football was like literally the guys I grew up with from pee-wee to high school football, all the guys. Um, Basketball were a different dynamic, like my hooping friends. It just was like a different feel. And in track and
Hmm.
field, it was just like a whole level of personalities out there.
Hmm.
So um, I was recruited for all three, but just track just seemed to be the one.
Now, why was it during or after your freshman year that you're like, yeah, I'm not interested anymore? What?
Both of them, honestly. I didn't really want to go
Okay.
to Sanford because I grew up 30 minutes from Sanford. It's D1, but like I don't want to go to Sanford. I want to go to big school. And I also like
Hmm.
at the same time, I just was so present in what was happening at the time. I really honestly wasn't even thinking about college like that.
Hmm.
Like I was so focused on being in the moment and enjoying my time in high school with my friends, representing my city. Like especially during that basketball season, we were really good. We were 30-3 my senior year. I was
Hmm.
focusing on trying to win a state championship. I really wasn't focused on what's to come. Like I wasn't even worried about the
Sure.
track season that year in high school. Yeah, because I was worried about what we were doing right then. And so I think that was where my focus was at
Hmm.
the time.
Now you get to Samford and you transfer, or I guess, did you technically transfer to Troy or you just worked out with them for the summer?
It was a transfer, but it wasn't like an official one because I didn't go to
Okay.
class.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Now,
it's weird. But I was on campus. Like I was enrolled.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how did that first year at Samford go? I guess, I guess I'm just confused how you were you went to the Olympic trials.
I didn't go to
Like,
Olympic trials for junior year. Let me clarify. I was good at track, but I didn't get like national level until my junior year.
okay.
But looking back on it, I was still good at track. Like I went to regionals freshman year, and that's like the playoffs to
Hmm.
advance to nationals. So,
Yep.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest, bro. My time at Sanford was good. Like none of it was bad. Like my
Hmm.
freshman year was fun. I became close friends to my close friends now. Like I was having a good time. I just didn't want to do track. Like honestly, that
Yeah.
was really just it. And looking back, I'm like, dang, if I had committed all the way, I probably would have
Mm.
been really good earlier. But I just had it in my mind, like my best friend Titus Moore, who was my roommate when I first got to Sanford, all the way through Sanford. I was with him yesterday. Um, I would tell him every day, I'm ready to leave. I want to go play football. Like it just was. I would tell him every day. This is while I was having success at Sanford freshman year, and I'm with my friends, like we're building relationships. I'm having a good time. It's just
Mm.
always in the back of my mind, especially that fall. That fall and that winter was really hard for me because I'm my whole life I'm used to fall, I'm in football, winter, I'm in basketball.
Mm.
I'm outside and it's like 40 degrees and I'm throwing a medicine ball on this track. Like that's not for me. Like my coach, I vividly remember him coming up to me and it was like a horrible weather day. It's super cold, gusty winds, and like sleet rain. And I'm throwing his medicine ball, and he's like, "Hey man, just stick it out. Promise it to pay off. Like I know you're used to, playing basketball right now." Like that was my mindset. Like I'm supposed to be indoors hooping right now. And so it just was difficult because I wasn't used to that at all. Like
Mm,
I said, I'm going from season to season. Like when it's track season, it's warm outside and I'm just coming off basketball and I'm having fun. I'm out there having fun, literally. I was really good, but I'm just having fun. Like I just like joking with my friends, having a good time. And a lot of times at first, man, I'm like, Lord, why in the world you got me out here? Like
mm,
my mindset was I was not appreciative of all the other blessings that were happening. And I think I need to go through that just so I can appreciate it more. Cause now
mm.
I love Sanford. Um, so grateful for my time there. But that first year, bro, I was like, oh no, this is not for me, dog. I was like, this is not for me.
That's just crazy to think about. Like, I don't know. I guess when I think of someone who's like that competing that highly, I just assume that they like enjoy it. Especially when I would consider high jump like, I mean, it takes work. Like you have to, there's technique to it. Like you can't just be athletic. Like you've got to be athletic and have the technique.
Mm-hmm.
So for I don't know, in my mind, for you to be like half in, half out. Now, when you came back to Sanford, were you like all in, or were you ever all in? Like how?
I think when I got back to Sanford, because I remember my coach was like, he texted me like, "What are you doing?" I got back to Sanford. Obviously, I just came back from Troy, and I was playing football. I reached out to the coach for the football team and was like, "Yo, I'm back at Sanford. I had went to Troy to play football. Felt like I was called to come back to Sanford." And I was trying to be the same way I was in high school. Like at that point, I was trying to do as many sports as I could at Sanford. And my coach was like, "I thought we were, committed." I said, "Coach, I am committed. I thought this was a good thing. I want to do multiple sports." And so I ended up not doing football. I just stayed doing track. Um, that sophomore year sophomore year was going great. And then we won the first ever indoor championship with Sanford. And then COVID happened. And honestly, that's probably one of the best things that happened to me because I got a chance to refocus, get all the way healthy. I told you our small group was still going. And so really just had a chance to build my faith throughout that time where you're really at the house a lot. Like I was outside, then I go home, play Fortnite with my friends, hop on the small group sometimes. And so I was all the way in going into that junior year.
Hmm,
For sure, for sure. Um,
okay.
I mean, I knew at sophomore year, like I wasn't going back to play another sport. And once we won, like Sanford had been around forever, like a long time. And so
Hmm,
the fact that we were able to be the first team to win the indoor title was crazy to me. But I was like, okay, now it's bigger than me. We've made a legacy at this point. We're starting to create something. And
hmm,
so definitely going into that junior year, I was locked in. I was super locked in. And then my long time, I thought about him on the way over here. My longtime AAU coach had passed
hmm.
in December of 2020. And that just lit another fuse up under me to be able to really execute and achieve the goals that not only I believed I could do, but he believed I can do. And that junior year, bro, was like a takeoff year for me. And that's like when the trials happened and stuff that summer. But,
Hmm.
I had taken down the school records. I had advanced in national championships. Um, it really just took myself from a really good Southern Conference level athlete to like a national level athlete. And I was fully locked in at that point. Like that's when
Hmm.
it was really getting fun.
Yeah. Now, what was that Olympic trials process like? Just in general, like, did you? I don't understand the logistics or anything. I don't know anything
Mm.
about it. I'm just asking. Like, did you enjoy that process? Was it like not fun? You can just talk about it.
I think that year was just long, bro. Like I started in January, like competing. I started January and I went all the way through June, like the very end of June. And that's a lot
Yeah.
of time, a lot of jumping in season. And
Mm.
honestly, like I didn't do good at the trials like when I went,
Mhm.
and I had to start at 7 feet. And I had never started that high. Like that was the first opening bar. And I just think at that point, I
Mm.
just was fatigued. And it wasn't even like the moment was too big. Now I might have been a little like, dang, why I gotta start so high? But I don't think the moment was too big. I just think it was just so much happening. Like I had just went to nationals in Oregon 2 weeks before, went
Mm.
back home, waiting to see if I made. So it was like top 24 in the US go to trials. I had you kinda had to wait to see when they drop the list if you're on the list. So you go back home and it's like, okay, you just competed and you're kinda still training, but like in the limbo if you're gonna compete some more. And
Mm.
then I figured out I'm on the list. And so I kept, training and stuff, and then it's back out to Eugene. And that, like, man, I don't even know. I haven't watched that vlog. I did a vlog. Like I used to vlog a lot of the track meets. I haven't watched that vlog in probably since it happened.
Mm.
And, like, I don't even remember how long I was up there. One of the only things I remember a lot, but one of the only things I remember for real is trying to get back home. Like, that was a crazy process. Like, we sat on the tarmac for an hour and a half. Everybody on that plane was at, like, either competing or a coach at the event, trying to run through the Dallas airport to get back home to Birmingham. But that experience in itself was a blessing, especially looking back on it, bro. Like, not many people can say that they've had the opportunity to compete there. Obviously, I'm a competitor at the end of the day. Like, I had bigger goals for myself. Um, it still sometimes tap me on the shoulder. I'm like, man, do I really want to get back in it, start training for real to try to make another run? Because
Mm.
I told you I tore my knee at Auburn, but now I feel great. Like, that was 2 years ago, about to be 3 years ago when I tore it. So, like, I'm good
Mm.
now. So I've always thought about, man, should I get back into the mix of training and trying to get back, at least get back to that spot so I can avenge some stuff. But no, it was a fun time, man. Like, you're in the mix. I remember we were going to practice one time, and if you know anything about track in Oregon, you can't practice at the track much. So there's like a JUCO, a really nice JUCO track, and it's all blue. A lot of athletes go there to practice. I'm going to practice one day, and I kind of have my head down because I'm on my phone. Then I realized, like, how you're walking and you kind of feel people getting closer to you. And I
Mhm.
was walking and I look up and I look to my right, and it's Grant Holloway, who's Olympic gold medalist, 3-time world champ. And I look to my left and it's Justin Gatlin. He's probably the greatest American male sprinter of all time. Him and Usain Bolt used to go back and forth. And I was like, I'm really in here. Like, this is the thing. And I always joke with my friends because I was so mad after trials because I did horrible. Had some other stuff going on too. I had a lot of stuff going on too, which probably added a factor of why I didn't do so well. But I remember stinking it up at trials. I was mad. I'm walking up under the stadium to go back, and it's Sydney McLaughlin, Levroni now because she's married and she's having a kid. So shout out to her. But she's sitting on the cooler, and I'm walking through, and we make eye contact, and she just does like this, like acknowledges me. I was like, I feel better now. So I was like, you know what? I'm good. And so it was amazing just to be able to be in that mix as well. Cause she ran, Grant Holloway ran like while I was competing as well. Being amongst, some of the best in the whole country, bro, like made a lot of good relationships when it came to high jump. And like you said, it's such a unique event. Like, I don't really know how I did it, honestly. Um, but being able to be in that environment was cool and really reflecting on the blessings of it. Like, I remember I put out a post. I was like, bro, I'd be a fool not to look at this year as anything else but a blessing. Cause like God brought me a long way. Like,
Mm.
I remember that very first meet that season, all the way in January. I just had so many expectations, so many pressures, and I did not jump good, like, to my
Mm.
standards at all. And I was like, bro, what in the world is going on? Then the next meet I was about to go in, I promise you this is a false positive. I wasn't sick at all. And nobody around me was sick. But I got tapped for COVID. And so I had to
Mm.
miss the next meet. And I was like, bro, I remember I went home because I was like, I'm not about, they had this like COVID house on campus where they sent all the people with COVID. I was like, I'm not sick. I'm not going in there. I'm going home. So I went home. And I remember I went home and I was training at my high school track. Just like, me, it really was just me and God. I was just fine tuning my stuff, trying to get everything together. And then when I went back to compete, it just was like a steady build, steady build, steady build. And just kept taking off from there. And then that senior year was the last year at Sanford. It was more like an icing on the cake moment, um, just to be able to, represent for my school, myself, lock into all the hard work I had done. And indoor nationals was back in Birmingham my senior year. And I remember my freshman year, I went to nationals to watch. And I was like, I'm next time nationals in Birmingham, I'm gonna be competing. I was like, I'm not gonna be watching. And the fact that like that actually happened, it's crazy. Like they had these what's the thing, the pop sockets you used to put on the back of your phone.
Yeah.
Um and I remember I had one of those, and it was like 2019 NCAA National Championship. I just grabbed one, and I just kept it at home. And I was like, bro, next time Nationals in Birmingham, bro, I'm not gonna be watching. And so it was great, bro. Like looking back, you know, I told my coworker the other day, I was like, the saying "favor isn't fair." Like I truly believe
Mm.
God has favor on my life, and there's things that happen to me that's probably not happening to anybody else, and they happen to me for whatever reason. My life has been a blessing. I've had highs and lows. I've had things I had to focus on, things I've had to turn my attention away from. Um, just continuing down this path and down
Mm.
this journey, man, because it's ebbs and flows, highs and lows, and ultimately it's just about the people who are going to continue to stay firm on that path, stay close to God, really pursue him more than the other things we want. And I think everything
Mm.
else will fall into place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's refreshing to hear you just talk about the favor, and the fact that, I mean, God gives us the ability to do whatever we excel at.
Mhm.
Um, like if you I mean, so many people are born, no matter how hard they work, they're not gonna be able to go jump over 7 feet, high
Yeah.
jump. Like, they're just not going to. Um, and obviously we can take the skills, talents, and abilities he's given us to steward, and we can refine them and improve them. But the fact that you can do that is because God created you that way. So that's cool.
Yes, sir.
Um,
I think that's huge, bruh. Just really embracing it all. Like life is interesting sometimes. Cause like I don't like using the term imposter syndrome, but even like in my
mm,
real career now, like, bro, in this sports media game, bro, there's people who are uber talented, people who've gone to
yeah.
school for this. Like, I didn't go to school for broadcasting sports media at all. Like, that was not on my radar. Then at Auburn, it's just like became a thing. And like the places I've been, I was on a call literally this morning, and I told him my first ever sideline reporting job was for the NBA Summer League. And I was like,
Mm,
never reported in my life. Obviously, I said yes to the opportunity, but that's just a crazy thing and a blessing when you reflect back to be like, man, he's really opening doors, and it's just about me walking through them,
mm,
you know, or if he presents the door, kicking it down and going in there, just whatever I have to do to make it impactful and really not wasting his blessings. I saw
mm,
Jalen Ramsey. This was years ago. He was on a podcast and he was talking about why he goes so hard because he felt like it'd almost be disrespectful to God to
mm,
not use and maximize the talents he's given them. And I thought
yeah.
about that heavy. I was like, man, I don't want to be ungrateful. I actually sat down with a WNBA player. She's a WNBA champion. Shout out Jalen Sherrod on my podcast about a week and a half ago. And she kind of said the same thing. Like
Mm,
she does not want to be ungrateful for the blessings and the position she's been in. There's no let off. You can't slack because that'd be, you know, disrespectful taking your talents for granted because there's plenty of people who probably have as much talent or more than you, but they're not necessarily in the same rooms that you are in. And
Mm,
so, how are you going to be able to maximize those and ultimately give him the glory in the end? And that's what I'm trying to do. Like that's what
yeah.
I pray for, man. Like being able to be on a platform to where people see me, I'm able to be in the places and the positions I want to be in, but ultimately it's gonna go back to him and letting
Mm,
everybody know, look, dog, without God, this is not happening. And even on my emails now, I'm trying to do more in this career, everybody's not a Christian or people of faith, but I'm always putting God bless. And that goes back to my boy Dylan, because he always says that. And I was like, I'm gonna start doing that too. Just like little hints there to, encourage them, because you never know. You hear all those stories, people will be like, all right, God, if you real, give me a sign or get somebody to come to me.
yeah.
I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to be, that person, because who knows, how he's gonna use you.
Mm,
Um, I didn't know you from a can of paint until you DM me. And so
mhm,
now we're able to be on this call and be able to, talk more about how God has helped us throughout our lives. And
mm,
hopefully this can help touch other people. And, I really don't do podcasts like this, always really talking about myself or like my story or whatever the case may be. And I like the
mm,
fact that we can keep the focus on God and in our
mm,
own journeys and how, from our upbringing, because I love how everybody's got a different story. I've heard a lot of stories, even being able to be a part of that small group, everybody's testimony is different. Somebody
mm.
had this
Yep.
situation, they came from the Christian background. Somebody didn't have a single person in their family that believed in God. So a lot of different extremes, a lot of different stories. And, I just try to do my best. Like I said, we're imperfect people, striving to be better, striving to be more like Christ. And I think
Mm,
ultimately, if you continue that pursuit, um, you really can't lose.
yeah. Yeah, no doubt. That's good. Um, random, not random. You've mentioned it a couple times. Going back. So how did you hurt your knee?
High jumping, bro. My knee was already like banged up throughout my time at Sanford, but I guess it just
Mm.
held on well. Shout out to my favorite PT out in the world, John McBride. He's the GOAT. Honestly, any NFL team needs to hire him because he knows what he's doing. But when I was at Sanford, we'd always work on my knee, different stuff. To
Mm,
Auburn, I got there. It was just, man, my training was different. I wasn't familiar with the medical team much.
mm,
Um, I had honestly, like, I redshirted that indoor season getting healthy. I got healthy. I remember the week of the track meet, like, I felt good. I was jumping back to normal. I was like, okay, we good. We ready to go. And that meet just did not go the way it was supposed to. And knee went kaplooey, and it
mm,
was crazy. But the craziest part about it was Sanford was at the meet too. So, like, all my friends were there. My coach was there. So it was good to have the support of them too.
mm,
Like, my family was there. And so I was more around my Sanford people than my Auburn people, and I was in Auburn tent after I got hurt, So like
mm,
it was like literally anybody who has been on my track journey was there. So,
mm.
um, yeah, bro, I went up to jump and it didn't work. So it was
Yeah,
an interesting night.
what specifically did you, like, hurt? I've
I tore my
torn my
patella.
ACL, so
I tore
go
my
ahead.
patella.
Okay. Is
I
that a
guess
bone?
it's like
Or
attached. It's the thing that connects
it's
like
like a
your
tendon?
yeah.
Okay. So did you had surgery on that
Mhm.
or no? Okay.
Oh yeah, dude. My knee was
Yeah.
huge. It was either
Yeah.
surgery or never walk because that wasn't gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. And now it's feeling good.
Oh, yeah, I feel straight. I mean, I need to stretch because 'cause I've been working out and stuff these last couple of days, bro. I've been grinding, so I need to stretch. But yeah, it feels good. I mean, really a lot of it actually once you get over the physical part, a lot of it's the mental aspect
Mm,
of it. Just not being scared to go up and jump and do what you gotta
yeah.
do. Obviously, it take a little bit more time to warm up, but once we get going, we good, man. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Um, okay. Now through that, um, I guess where was your mind at, and, like, kind of your relationship with God, through that? Like,
I
people
think
people handle adversity and difficulty differently, And I know different things have happened in my life where I've responded vastly differently to God
Mhm.
because I do believe God's sovereign. I believe he's in control of everything. And that's the Christian belief. So, um, knowing that God could have prevented that, I guess where was your head at
When it
through
first
that
happened
injury?
when it first happened, like, why? Like, I literally vividly was on the mat, like, "Why in the world did you let this happen to me?" Like, I'm the guy when it comes to this event. I already knew my plan was gonna be. I was gonna get back in the mix, go ahead, get this mark to qualify for regionals, then I was just gonna build up in at regionals, I was gonna get back to nationals and just be what I was supposed to be anyway. And
Hmm.
then I was like, "What in the world is going on?" And then I kinda, like, once I was just sitting on the table, had all my friends around me, I remember I hit up my friend TJ, like, "Bro, I think this is it, bro. Like, that's wraps." And then had the surgery and everything. And more so was like numb. Like I literally went home. When we went back to we were in Alabama. That was a problem too, because that's our rival. Who was at Alabama.
Hmm.
That's what I blame it on. We go back to Auburn and I go home and I'm alone, like I'm by myself. My family isn't there, my friends in there. I got interesting roommate dynamic at the time, so I'm not like talking to anybody. I'm just at the house, and I remember laying in the bed, and there's a whole bunch of trophies there surrounding me, and I'm like, well, these don't mean anything right now. Like, I had my room was very very nicely decorated and stuff, but I was like just staring at the stuff. I was like, bro, well, like none of that matters anymore. And then went to the MRI. Doctor was like, "Hey, Justin, you ever had surgery before?" I was like, "Nope." He's like, "Well, you're about to." I was like, "Okay." And so had surgery that Monday, drove back to Birmingham. Then I was in Birmingham the rest of the time. I don't even know how school went. Like, I'm trying to think, was school over? Because we were still competing. I don't even, bro. I have no idea how the rest of it went. I probably just did the rest of the stuff online, or I think I did my finals and stuff online. I can't even remember. I think I did because I had the little what's that lockdown browser or whatever. I think I had to do
Oh,
my
yep.
finals and stuff online because I couldn't go back to Auburn to like finish
Mm.
them or anything. Um, and so my mindset, honestly, like I almost crashed out the first week or so. Like I'm looking at the couch I was just sitting on the whole time because like, bro, I can't do this. Then my dad just told me to calm down. Then I was good. Like honestly, it was just like, what's next? So it was just slowly going to PT, slowly going to, you know, bend my leg. Like it was some hard stuff. Like
Hmm.
cleaning out the wounds all the time and rewrapping over the staples and everything. Like, I really wasn't mad at God or anything. You know, you have those moments. I think I was just more, I don't know. I think I was much more mature at the time. I was just like really numb to it all, but I still had a good spirit. I could play a lot of Fortnite. I was just like trying to keep my mind off of it. And I've always been a competitor. And so my mindset was like, okay, now that we've settled down, let's focus on just the next steps. And this is what I'm talking about, like physically, like let's just focus on the next steps here and here. Reflection on with God was just like, honestly, it just was like after the fact. Like I just started realizing why all this stuff need to happen. So I'll give you like one great example. When I got to Auburn, I was like that dude. So it was like high recruit, supposed to come here and win a national championship. This FCA at this middle school in Auburn reached out to me and wanted me to speak to the kids. I was like, great, I'll go speak to them. And it was coming from a perspective of big time athlete, star. He just also happens to be a Christian. Talk to the kids from that perspective about how Christ has impacted your life as a student athlete, all that jazz. Cool. Fast forward, I tear my knee. I'm not that athlete anymore. They hit me up in the fall and asked me to come back and speak to the kids and speak to them from the perspective of your identity isn't in your
Mm.
sport, it's in Christ. Because when you don't
Yeah.
really have your sport, who are you? What are you? And so
Yeah.
that's when I went to speak to him for the second time. Afterwards, her name is Carrie Fellows, who runs the FCA. She knew that I was interested in sports media at this time, because at this point, like, all my social media stuff was blowing up. My podcast, I was doing a lot of interviews with different guests. I was everywhere, like, when it came to social. She used to coach a lady who works at TNT, and she connected us. And I remember I was in practice, and I was supposed to get on the Zoom. I literally have it on. I have a picture of it still, or a video of it. 'Cause I used to do a lot of day in the life videos. But I went from the track upstairs, hop on the Zoom real quick, and it was one of them same calls, bro. Like, man, you're doing great. Just keep doing what you're doing. Like, it's gonna break through for you. And I was so sick of hearing that when it came to like the media side. I was like, bro, I'm tired of hearing that. 2 hours later, she hit me back about this fellowship opportunity with TNT called the Oscar Pope Lift Every Voice Fellowship. And I applied, I got it. And that gave me the opportunity for my first ever being on national TV at the Final Four. It was in Phoenix at the time. And so I was working with Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, all of them. And so I was on a pregame show for the Final Four and the national championship. I ended up getting a national championship opportunity as well. And so none of that happens without tearing my knee, because I don't go back to the FCA, and that lady who runs the FCA doesn't connect me with the lady from TNT, who then tells me about the opportunity, who then I apply for, end up going there. And so all those things, like you said, God don't make mistakes. Like, it happened for a reason. And I think it was a chance to not, I wouldn't say slow me down, but really shift like my focuses and things like that. Cause I was still rehabbing. I'd be rehabbing, going to class, going to practice, doing the media stuff. Like, I had a lot on my plate, but I don't know, bro. Like, it just taught me a lot. Like, I was grinding, trying to get back. If I had more eligibility, I would have been able to get back to like a better level. I got back, but it was more so like pity stuff. Like, I was just out there. I really turned into like the unk of the team. Like, I was the captain vet, just like keeping everybody together and showing them like, I'm working hard. Like, I'm still out there grinding and stuff. But it was more so on a like, I compete some, but I was just captain, like helping. And then it got to the end to where we went to SECs. I went to SECs. I wasn't even competing, but I got to go. And it was just an opportunity to, my coach let me network with the people who were running SEC network. I got to really just oversee my team, make sure everything was straight, do some social stuff. So during that whole process, bro, it was just like a steady climb. Like, I really wasn't mad. Like, that when I first got hurt, I was like, Lord, why in the world did you let this happen? Like, I was so overwhelmed. But honestly, bro, the things that people harbor along their journey, I feel like where there's a resentment, I feel like all of that was expressed on the mat. And then after that, it was clean slate. Just like, okay, we're going to be all right. Let's just take it step by step. So I never really harbored any resentment or anything towards God. Like, I was cool. I was just like, I realized I can't do anything to change what happened, but I can make sure that from this, we continue to get better. 'Cause I think a good part about it was nobody saw me down. Like, I didn't want people who may not have been believers to be like, see, why do bad things happen to good people? Or you see, if he can get down, and he's talking about God and how good he is, and probably something I don't want to do. So that's one thing I try not to do. I just try to make sure I could, um, that's the power of social media too. Like, you can, show the good. I showed the good and the bad. I think that was a good thing for me. Like, I showed the process of how I'm getting through this, and, we going to be good at the end, still smiling. Like, I was doing the podcast, bro. My leg can barely bend, but it's still smiling. God's still good. I'm still waking up the next day. And I also had a good perspective of understanding, like, people have it worse than you. Like, I have a real close friend, Justice Edwards, who got injured in a football accident, making a tackle. And he's trying to learn how to walk. That's way, way more of a difficult situation than I just tore my knee. Sucks, but somebody always has it worse. And I think that was a perspective of that I try to keep with me.
Yeah. So it's encouraging that FCA had you come back with that wanting to hear that perspective of not finding your identity in your sport specifically, but I mean that opens a whole can of worms of identity in your job. In I mean, I struggle finding my identity in a number of things, and like wanting to please people, wanting to come off a certain way to certain people, um, and it's just not. I mean, if we're fearing anything or anyone, or caring about anything or anyone be more than God,
Hmm.
that's a problem. We've got a heart problem. And I think the better you get at something, like whether it's a profession or sport or just really anything, the better you get at it, the harder it is to let it go. And the harder it is to not let your identity be placed in that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure that is that online anywhere? I'd be curious to hear if it was recorded, you
If what?
speaking.
Oh no, it
Ye
wasn't.
Okay.
Nah.
Yeah, 'cause I could yeah, that could be an awesome, uh, awesome message.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, I think she took like she may have taken some video. Um, she might have just sent it to me. I know she has some
sure.
pictures and stuff, but
Yep.
yeah, it was looking at that. I think that was like a great tangible example of how you know something that happens, it may look like it's devastating, really just might be helping you out in the other end. So, just
Mm,
all in all, man, I feel like God has been good just throughout my journey. He teaches me stuff during different phases, different seasons.
yeah.
And as I'm navigating this next phase, just really trying to hone in on seeking Him and understanding that He's got everything together the
Mm,
way it's supposed to happen. No need to worry. I just got to keep working hard and doing what I'm doing. And I hope that this conversation and message ultimately help somebody else and in their own story. And I'm sure you're gonna get other guests who have other great stories and really just continue to build a kingdom. I think that's the biggest thing, and not being afraid to share your story. Like I said, I don't have many people reach out in this regard, so I'm glad to be able to talk about this because I don't want that to be an oversight. Like I want that to be the first thing
mm,
people see or people know. Um, about me. So, like you said, the identity part. They can say all them other titles, but I want them to be able to say, he's a follower of Jesus Christ
mm.
first, and the way he carries himself, the way he interacts with people. Want them to be able to see that. So that's my biggest hope because I've done some cool stuff, gonna keep doing some cool stuff, but ultimately, I just want all the glory to go back to him, and I'll be straight.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you. Is there anything else you wanted to share, or do we pretty much hit everything?
I think we hit a lot of it. May have to come back
Yeah.
for a part 2.
Yeah.
As things keep unfolding in this journey, man. But like I said, I appreciate you reaching out to me in general. I think what you're doing is cool to be able
Mm,
to share these different stories. Ultimately, it's about sharing the kingdom. You never know who will see it and how it
mm,
can impact them. So definitely keep doing what you're doing. And I'm just glad to have had the opportunity to share a little bit about my testimony, how God has continued to work and move in me throughout my life and, guided me along this journey. And I hope that, you keep staying strong in your own faith as you're sitting down with these different guests.
amen. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. And thanks for coming on.
Oh,
It's been
yeah.
fun.
Stay down, came up, God made a way.